Okay everyone, welcome to Lumbar Spine Injury Prevention and Rehabilitation for Fitness Professionals. This presentation will follow a typical format. We'll do an hour or so of anatomy, functional anatomy and how it all fits together. We'll then spend the last part of our presentation today doing some common assessment tools that you can use for your clients. We'll talk about rehabilitation exercises or potentially dangerous exercises that are in the gym situation, and then I'll give you a list of comprehensive rehabilitation exercises for a wide range of conditions. So it'll be a reasonably intense couple of hours, but as I said, focusing first up on the anatomy physiology. So once you have a grounding in that, everything else will fall into place for you. So the muscles we're talking about, latissimus dorsi, which comes up here from the humerus, comes down and blends. You know, we talked about that thoracolumbar fascia a second ago. So it comes around, blends into that thoracolumbar fascia and crosses over to the muscle on the other side, your gluteus maximus. You can see how if the lats coordinated will tighten up that, tighten the glute and stabilise that cross across the back. And you have the same thing on the other side. If you ever wonder why we do lat exercises in back rehab, that's exactly why. Now ideally, we'd like to get him to about 4 minutes. Now that's a long time, but 4 minutes is the minimum requirements now for the wallabies. They use a 4-minute test. Okay, so if they're not up to 4 minutes, they then start worrying about doing some other rehab stuff to get them back into it. Now we'd like at least our people to get to about 58 seconds to 1 minute. Hear that? And if he starts to lose, what will happen is as he gets more tired, he slowly starts to drop forward, keep going forward. When he loses about 10 degrees, it's finished. You record the time. Now what I'm trying to look at here, we talked before about gluteals and they're forced closure of the sacrum. So you'll get a little bit of a hamstring contraction. You should get an opposite erector spino contraction, and then pretty quickly you should get a good gluteal contraction. So if you lift up again, ready for me? And see how he's able to do it reasonably stable through here. Some people you'll see they'll lift and pull and reef their pelvis around because they just can't get that gluteal working at inner range. And if they can't do it, you better pressure biofeedback under there, or you put your hand under, get them to brace first, and then get them to do it. So you're trying to coordinate this with this. So from there, pivot from the hips. You've still got that flexion position, so you've got to be aware of disc pressure, but it's the way to do, if you're going to do a deadlift position and a hamstring gluteal extension position, which is a really good exercise, you're able to do that a lot more safely than if you rounded your lumbar spine and didn't have your knee bent. Okay. From there we get him to draw a big A with his arm. Again, staying stable as we can through here. He does a big A, then he does a big B, a big C, and he starts moving. Now you can then add the leg as well. Big A's, big B's, big C's. Stop. Now as he does it, keep moving through the range, and go down. I'll just resist, move, hold. And it's just different positions he has to control that. He may start high to low, low to high. You can do all sorts of variations. If you're a basketball, you need to be strong overhead, you do the same thing. Overhead, you tap the ball. Just stability things. Make it a little bit more secure. And that's actually similar to the taping technique that I'll use for someone with an acute disc. So they've come in and they're bent over, or they've done a ligament strain, and you need to get them into that extension position because otherwise they're going to be all day like this. But their muscles just aren't up to holding them there. He won't be able to round into that position. You've got to try and get that tilt through the pelvis and keep him straight through the back. And we know how hard that is to teach the bent over row. But a couple of bits of strapping tape make your life a lot easier. That position, from there I turn my hands up and extend. And I round forward. Now I like it a lot because it extends your thoracic and lumbar spine, so it's nice for the erectors. It's also really nice for the lower traps. So if you're trying to get some control of your scapula, say people with shoulder problems, it's a real gem of an exercise. All you can do is go through the exercise that I've talked about today and put them into each grade. If you do an assessment of your client, work out what grade they're in, you'll then know what exercise you can and can't do. When they pass that, move on to the next grade. It almost gives you a formula for back rehab.